Been a long time. Been a real long time. Let's start the fucking show. In case you forgot, Casey Strata, multiple time world heavyweight replica champion. YouTube personality. Athlete. And just general nice guy. So you might be asking yourself, Casey Strata, what are you doing? It's been like 2 years. It's been a long time, man. Where's Joe Grutt? Number one, I pulled a Brock Lesnar. I don't live in the same state that I used to, Florida. I don't live in Florida anymore. I moved out to rural North Carolina, and the reason I'm making direct eye contact with the camera is because it has a light and it is shining right in my eyes and burning my retinas. So I'm gonna be kind of looking around somewhere else just so you don't get freaked out by it. So I live in seclusion pretty much because I hate people. And you're asking yourself, Casey Strata, okay, that's great. That's an awesome little tidbit there. You moved. Congratulations. What's your purpose? This is the purpose. Paul Heyman has a DVD coming out. CM Punk has a documentary coming out on the network. There's a lot of demand for controversial figures, and you can't get too much more controversial than Casey Strata. In case you forgot, Pro Wrestling U was one of the most wildly successful shows on YouTube in its day. And I am here, sponsored obviously by RF Video, to do a shoot. And I have questions, and I say we start this thing out. Be going tit for tat here, and I'm gonna be covering some things, talking about the rise. Kitty, sorry, my cat is just going crazy in the background, just out of control, trying to grab this penny. It's like, cat, can't buy anything with a penny. Jesus Christ, the fuck. Anyways, I'm sorry about that tangent. So let's talk about my career. Let's talk about Casey Strata before Pro Wrestling U. A lot of people, we never really talked about what I did and how I even met Joe and all this stuff. Kitty, you are just out of control. Cat lady, stop it. Hell no, get back. Why are you eating this? No. Sorry, my cat's insane. She's a stray, so she just randomly, now she's eating my mouse cord. Stop, cat, you cut. Now she's licking my finger. You are ruining this fucking video, cat. You are ruining. And your cuteness cannot save it. Now she's biting me. Anyways, I'm moving on. I'm not even talking about her anymore. You are just out of control. Alright, so here we go. My career is on the downside. I was primarily a tag team specialist. Wrestled all around Florida, Mexico, one tour of Japan with Corey Flynn, and a pretty successful tag team. I had held multiple singles titles, TV title, the ICCW Texarkana TV title. I had held the Continental title, not the Intercontinental title, just Continental, like the breakfast. Hardcore Championship, only had that for a week, 24/7 rules. And 2-time World Heavyweight Champion. But I was never the guy. I wasn't very good at politicking. So I was primarily known as a tag team wrestler. But when my partner Corey Flynn decided to go to Firefighting Academy to find a more stable career, I was out of luck. I just thought that was going to be the end of it. And one day I was sitting at home after I got fired on the answering machine, and from the federation I was working for, and it was Joe Grutt, and he was like, Casey, I want you to come work for me. And I'm like, well, Joe, I'm fixing to retire here. My career is And he said, no, man, I want you to be my top hand. I want you to come in. We're gonna work babyface. Hadn't done that before, and we're gonna do something groundbreaking, something amazing, never been done before. I said, all right, well, tell me what your idea is. He sent me some videos, and He sent me 3 videos. 1 was a video from Truth Slayer. 2, video from Bill and Doug. And 3, video of Spinnernet. And I watched them, and they're all fucking terrible. And I was like, I understand this purpose now. We need to make something that if you're covering an entertainment program or sport, your review should at least be entertaining itself. It just makes sense to me. And so we decided very early on this was something that had to happen because it was just atrocious. Good God, were the videos terrible. And I actually equate pro wrestling and you, which I invented that name. I actually invented all the names on the program. Joey did 99.9999% of the work and creative on the show. But if anything had a name, I did it. I came Salty Joe Grutt, obviously my own name, Casey Strata, Tom Bojack, Meatloaf Jr., Skullduggery. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. I'm just really good at names for some reason. Wildly successful names at that. And, I equate Pro Wrestling U to ECW, and you're like, that's kind of crazy. We did have a real hardcore wrestling going on. That's kind of strange. The reason is we set out to do something wildly different than was being done with the current product of wrestling reviews on YouTube. And wrestling reviews and discussion, I should say. Number 1, there weren't many people that were in a pair. There's Bill and Doug, and once again, they were fucking terrible, so I don't even think they really counted that much. And then you looked at everyone else, and they were wildly boring. So I said, hey, number 1, let's not film it in my mom's basement with terrible audio and terrible video quality. At first, our video quality was bad, but we had to, there was no money there. We had no money. And that was all Joe Grutt's money, number 1. So without him, when it put his money into the show, the show would have continued to look terrible for years. But it didn't. Got HD quality. And, I said, everyone else just looks like crap. So we made a point to dress nicely. I think for at least the first 2 years, I think Joey never wore a non-collared shirt. Specifically, I'd come over and he would have like a sleeveless tank he made himself, and then he would just throw a dress shirt over that. So he looked like he was fancy all the time, but he very much wasn't. This is a man that wears house shoes out and about. It's a great look for him, but it's true. So we wanted to be something different, something revolutionary, something that maybe we weren't designed to be there forever. But it's better to burn out than to fade away, and that's exactly what we did. I think we changed the landscape completely. We just revolutionized the biz, per se, of the wrestling shooters, which I think is the most pretentious term, because what are you exactly shooting? Like, you're clearly not, like hooker and shooter in the sense that like Dean Malenko was a shooter or Taz. So you're talking about shooting in the sense that the difference between a shoot and a work, and I don't even like to use insider wrestling terms because we're not in the wrestling business. We just talk about it as fans. And it just sounds so pretentious and semi-disrespectful, I think, because you're not what's the word? I can't think of it, but you're not in the wrestling business, essentially. You're not indoctrinated. That's the word I was looking for. So I just thought that the whole thing was pretentious, and that was my whole mindset, was to go in, make the best damn show we could. I mean, we had so many funny skits, we had storylines, we did everything. Great music, we had a set. No one had a fucking set. Studio 23, man. Like, come on now. So the show took off. We never reached the subscriber base that a lot of shows had. We also didn't market ourselves in such a light that, we were really trying to do that. We had a core audience, much like TNA has their 1.0 or whatever, and we just appealed to that audience. That's all we wanted to do, and the people loved our show. They look forward to it every single week. And that's all we really wanted to do. I will say that if we did market ourselves better, Bill and Doug did get a semi job from TNA, and they really just messed that up because TNA really should have hired us. It didn't make any damn sense. Number one, we went to every damn show. We lived in the area. It just didn't make any damn sense, TNA. But to their credit, Joey did predict they'd go out of business by the year 2008, 2010, and 2012, and we're now in 2014, year of our Lord, and he's still going. You know, Total Nonstop Action is still going. So who's to say, right? Well, that's been 10 minutes, and so we get to the more juicy part. This is the last time that I'm going to portray Casey Strata, the character of Casey Strata. Unless I get a bunch of questions for this video, and then I may decide to make a one follow-up, if I get enough questions, which I'll probably get 10 views because it's been 2 years. We're not relevant at all. I'm by myself, so I'm just gonna talk about some of the things that really bothered me about our show. Once again, I just want to reiterate that Joey did 99.9% of the work. I did nothing but show up and just be on pretty much, or like occasionally hold things. I even have a background in TV production. I'm just lazy. But also, Joey was such a perfectionist. He really didn't want anyone else handling the editing and the design of the product but himself, and I really respect that about him. Because he would stay up till like 4 a.m. on a night that he had school that coming morning and just be editing the show to get it out on time. So much dedication. And then there were times we just didn't release the show for like 2 weeks, but whatever, man. Don't judge us. That really pissed us both off actually, was Bill and Doug. And it's silly to get mad about something like this, but I thought it was just so shitty to do. Because we're all out there trying to make a name for ourselves right on the YouTube, and Bill and Doug sent us an email. I don't know which one it was. Sent us an email and they're like, "Man, you got a great song in your opening. What song is it?" And we told them. Fucking very next week they were using that song. Dude, come on, man. You don't use Voodoo Child. That's Hulk Hogan's theme, dude. Like, come on, man. You don't just use another guy's entrance. That's fucked up. So immediately lost any respect for them that I had. The real reason the show burnt out was actually because Tom Bojack refused to put me over. Joey and I had a 3-hour production meeting one day over the phone where we mapped out 8 months of episodes. 8 months of episodes. 8 months. It's like 32 shows or something like that. And we started it. We were in the stage 1, like phase 1 of 16 or whatever. And Tom Bojack, he's playing his part to a T, man. He was great. He was really great. And then when it came time for the payoff, he basically took the money and ran. He refused to put me over. Ruined the whole program. We tried to substitute Meatloaf Jr., saying that Tom Bojack wouldn't have to do the job. He didn't want to do it. He pretty much he took the money and he ran. And at that point, we'd been doing the show for quite some time, and that 8-month program that we had laid out was going to be our masterpiece, and Tom Bojack just straight up ruined that shit. And at that point, it was like we just threw our hands up. We were like, you know what? We love doing the show. We love interacting with the people, but we're really busy. And then he just totally ruined this angle, and we just didn't see we didn't have it in our hearts anymore. It basically broke our hearts because we worked so hard to get to this point. So that's the reality of Tom Bojack. He did not want to put me over. Essentially, he pulled Ric Flair or Stone Cold Steve Austin, I guess, then went up over Brock Lesnar, and he just went home. That's what he did. So that's something. This is terrible because I'm just burying people left and right. He was a really nice guy. The Matt Alvarez Sports Opinion Show was the drizzling shits. Number one, the Sports Opinions Show. The title itself doesn't sound like it's like correct English, like grammatically correct. Maybe it is, but it has such the Sports Opinions. It's a two plural word. Sports Opinions Show. What the fuck? And then he was like literally like the worst host ever. You give this passionate answer about a question. Yeah, sure. Great fucking segue, and then there'd be all this silence and stuff. Oh god. And he like blew it up that we were gonna have all like man, what kind of like followership do you have going on there? How much viewers do you have or listeners, I guess, of a podcast? And he's like, oh, I think the quote was, it's considerable. Was the quote that Joey told me that he asked him, and it turned out to be like 14 people or something like that. And I'm like, dude, we did this shit like 3 times, like 3 hours a piece for like 14 people. We reached like over 1,000 of our show all the time. It was bullshit. So combination of my pure hatred for Bill and Doug, Tom Bojack fucking up our entire show, and the Sports Opinion Show, which I'm just always stuck on the title. I can never get past it. That was Pro Wrestling News. So if you have any questions about angles we ran or characters or why we chose to do certain things or skullduggery or whatever else, or we'll be accepting comments in the below, and if I get a decent amount, then I will respond. And if I don't, then I'm Casey Strata, your world replica heavyweight champion. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. Never been so proud to work with someone as I have been with Joe Grutt, our dog Stone Cold Steve Austin, Studio 23, and Baby Grutt, who's now like a preteen Grutt. Corey Flynn, Meatloaf Jr., Jimmy Wang Yang, Skullduggery, even that fuck Tom Bojack. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the fun. And as always, fuck your mother.